2-minute wonder. Today we're going to talk about the stomach acid and its regulation. In the fundus region of the stomach, parietal cells produce hydrochloric acid. With carbonic anhydride enzyme, carbon dioxide in the cells is converted into carbonic acid, which splits to form bicarbonate and hydrogen ions. To maintain that electrochemical balance, hydrogen ions are actively transported into the stomach's lumen, whilst the bicarbonate ion is passively transported into the blood in exchange for a chloride ion, which then diffuses into lumen, binding with the proton to form the hydrochloric acid. Now, acid release and inhibition can be divided into 3 stages, with the first being the cephalic stage. In the cephalic stage, you haven't eaten any food yet, but you might have had a look or caught a whiff. But that's enough for the brain to begin preparing your body for digestion. A series of events start to begin using the parasympathetic vagus nerve as a stimulatory response, which releases acetylcholine binding to the muscarinic receptors on the parietal cells that stimulates further production of hydrochloric acid. Now, vagus nerves also releases GRP, gastrin-releasing peptide neurotransmitter, that acts on G cells, stimulating the release of more gastrin hormone. Now, gastrin via the bloodstream binds on CCKB receptors, and these are found on parietal cells and also on enterochromaffin cells, which releases histamine, that then binds to H2 receptors on parietal cells, increasing overall gastric secretions. Following this, you usually eat the food, and that passes down into your stomach. This is the gastric phase. Now, as you eat, your stomach fills up, and the stomach will stretch, and the chemical composition within the stomach changes. These differences are picked up by chemo and stretch receptors, causing a stimulatory response through the vagus nerve and ENS, the enteric nervous system. This is the stomach's own nervous system, which bypasses the brain for an instant reflex response. It's found within 2 regions of the GI tract, the myenteric and submucosal plexus, with the myenteric plexus stimulating contraction of the smooth muscle wall lining, moving, mixing and breaking down the ingested food, and the submucosal plexus stimulating gastric secretions. Now, following this, a mixture of chyme is created and is waiting to pass through onto the intestines. And as it passes along, this is the intestinal phase. The duodenum stretches and chemical composition changes. This is detected by stretch and chemoreceptors again, but it sends back an inhibitory response through ENS. The strength of the response is dependent on the composition of the chyme. Now, in this stage, the gastric secretions are reduced, the smooth muscle wall contractions decrease, lowering the overall emptying rate of food into the intestines, allowing for the intestines to absorb the food comfortably without being overwhelmed. That's gastric acid secretion and regulation for you to know. Thanks for watching.